I guess everything's changed over the years significantly in the last 10 years. I was talking with a colleague recently about how in the last 2 years things have changed so dramatically, and in the last 10 years things have changed so dramatically. So much more so than the 20 or 30 years before that, or at least it seems so. And of course, so much of that is the technology. So much of that is that everything now is done by email and by computer. We send our sides now by email. We send things out to the agents and the actors. Sides Express, of course, is how things are posted. It's not so very long ago that we were putting sides in envelopes and leaving them with the actor's name outside the door, and we had to have a 24-hour building so that the actor could pick up the sides after their evening job at 2 in the morning because they'd be waiting there for them. I think the technology has in many ways made things easier and in some ways done a disservice because there's so much information coming at everyone. We're now included on things that are copied to everyone that don't necessarily have immediacy for us. But of course, to be thorough, you have to go through everything. And in some ways, I think that has done a bit of a disservice to the process, whereas 10 years ago, each person was able to be more focused on their own specialty. The general manager, the casting director, the costume designer. Now we're all included on emails that include the entire production, and everything needs to be gone through if you're thorough and efficient to make sure you don't miss anything. At some ends of it, especially with those who seem to have come of age or grown up in this world of technology, it seems there's less carefulness in going through everything because there's so much information coming at everyone. So things are often skimmed or not gone through as carefully. So the result is that I think for all of us, the process is a little more complicated and a little more difficult if one keeps one's standards high, as we all try to do, and certainly as my colleagues and I as casting directors would have to. We don't really have a choice. We're in what a director recently described to me as a bang your head against the wall profession, where you're always trying to make it as good as possible in what Norman Rothstein, who was a great general manager, once said to me, casting at its best is an inexact science. At its worst, it's total chaos. So we're always trying to veer toward the best of it. And that is a lot of exchange of information. And with the exchange of information in the information superhighway, there's so much more to go through. That's a big change. How we work is a big change. I mean, there's the surface thing, like the submissions are now done electronically. They're not so much done hard copy anymore. So do actors remember to bring their picture and resume with them to an audition now? Or do they assume because there's an electronic blip that happened that casting directors are going to have the time to be able to print out every picture and resume? Not likely. Is the agent for every appointment they get before it's confirmed going to send a picture and resume in time? Not likely. So there's more responsibility now on everyone's shoulders. And I think for most casting directors, we are accountable for a great deal, and we take our responsibilities very seriously. But now we're relying on things like an actor always bringing their picture and resume, and there are reasons sometimes an actor forgets, and sometimes they're good reasons, and sometimes they're not good reasons. But the point is now everybody needs to step it up. Everybody needs to work a little harder. Every actor has to always have their picture and resume with them. I always tell them, don't leave your house without 5. You never know. You go to 2 auditions. At those auditions, maybe they're co-productions where 2 theaters or 2 companies or the network and my own office each need a copy. You have 2 auditions like that in a day, you're only left with 1 in case somebody on the way home meets you and says, I'm producing a film, can I have your picture and resume? So there's more responsibility on everyone's shoulders now. There's more information traversing. I think that's the big change that we've seen. I think of that comment George Abbott made some years ago when they asked him what was the greatest innovation in the theater. This was only about 10 years ago. He was still alive. He was, I think, 106 years old. And they said, what's the greatest innovation you've seen in the theater? And he said, electricity. You know, and so we think of these things as being so far away and so long ago. and it's all happening very quickly. The change happens very quickly, and the great changes, the greatest percentage of change that we've seen in our industry, is I think the most recent, within the past 10 years.